We've got some panel discussions going on with mentor professionals coming in those messages. It is my pleasure, Ms. Colleen.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Are you ready for a night of etiquette? It's not as bad as it sounds, I promise you on that. Tonight, as Anthony said, we are going to go through everything to prepare you. And now that he just brought up about this April 4th, I'll kind of even get you in to be ready for that. Unfortunately, when you go out into the world to interview for jobs and get ready for jobs, there's a lot of competition in everything you do. Once you get into the job, there's also competition because every day you're competing for your job to get advancements, to go into other positions, and to move on. Now, a couple rules that we're going to have tonight. I'm going to be with you for a little bit of time. The vouchers that he's talking about, the one-on-one for the hour, it's not tonight. You're not going to stay with me for an hour tonight, all of you, like for like 50 more hours. It's like whenever we're going to plan all these things. Take advantage of that. Take advantage that you have mentors. I grew up through my career with 5 or 6 mentors that I've used. They got me to where I am now, and I truly, truly, truly take advantage of them. Use them, abuse them, do whatever with them. And to the mentors in the room, encourage them to go to things like this, to the April 4th and different things that there are. There's never a time that you can learn enough about anything, so just do that. Now, my rules. Ask me questions as we go on tonight. Now, if your parents, if your mother, your father, an aunt, an uncle, somebody taught you something about etiquette while you were growing up, and I teach you something a little different tonight, stick with your mother, okay? Don't change anything. If your mother told you to do something one way, and I tell you maybe something like with dining, I tell you a little differently tonight, stick with your mother, okay? Just forget what I'm saying, just go with that. But ask me questions, just raise your hand. If we get a little bit running late on things, then I'm gonna stay afterwards. You can come up and just ask me then, okay? So it's pretty simple with all that. What we're gonna talk about tonight is basically the way you look, the way you act, the way you eat, how you conduct yourself, how you follow up with things, your brand. You're gonna create a brand. Your company, where you eventually end up to work, they're going to have a brand, but you have to create your own brand. And a brand is anything as small as showing up on time, the way you dress, the way you follow up with your work, all of that. And always remember, it's the little things that will make the difference. So that's kind of important with all of that. Now, what we're going to talk about mainly right now is about your dress. It's very important that your appearance plays a major role. We'll use April 4th as an example. You're all dressed very casually tonight. Some of you do have, a couple of the gentlemen have some ties on, but I know you've been in class all day, and so I didn't expect you to run home and change and come back here. April 4th will be a nice test. I don't know what the dress is for that, but you want to come dressed up. You want to have that appearance. Anytime you go on an interview, you go business dressed. This is business dressed. A full suit for a man is business dress. You're going to have to buy one eventually, so you might as well get it. If you don't, gentlemen, then borrow one. But make sure you borrow it from a person that's pretty similar to your same size, okay? Just got to make sure of that. And it's amazing. You can go, whenever I do my fashion shows, it's amazing. The store that I use is Super Target. You would be amazed what you can find in the Super Target, but you have to take the time. If you want your hour with me to be a shopping time, not for fun, ladies, we will make it very serious. That's what I'll do with you. We'll go shopping for an hour. And so it's up to you. It's totally what you want to do. And so, but that's very, very important. You have to look the role from head to toe, including your hair, the whole way down to that your shoes are shiny and everything looks good. Because when you're interviewing, which I've done a lot of it, they'll look, because you're going to represent their company. You are very brilliant. I've been told that by several people in here, that you are the cream of the crop, that you're brilliant students, but you have to have everything else because it's a competitive world out there. There's a lot of brilliant people out there, but they got to have everything to go together to make them want you for their company. So that's the important thing. So everybody in here also has their own style because you're various ages in here. You're not all just right out of high school, so you're various ages. And everybody has your image, your perception, how you want to be perceived out there. Yes, you are smart, and you think, well, that's all I need to worry about. Yes, but you still have to kind of abide by the way the dress code is of that company or whatever. I have a contract with ExxonMobil, and ExxonMobil is very strict with their dress code. The men every day wear a coat and tie, and it is a white shirt. They are not deviated out there. I mean, the first time I walked into the lunchroom, they have like a cafeteria, it was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. Every single man, I'm not exaggerating, had a white shirt on. It was like, I know you're all too young, but IBM used to have a rule where you wore like a navy suit or a black suit and you wore a white shirt. And I shouldn't be watching this because I'm on video, but it was like back to that. It was like the white shirt. Never a light blue, never a pink. And I'm not saying you can't go that route because it's beautiful, but and all the women are just nice. But that's their code, that's their perception, and that's just their make, which is beautiful. It's very, very, very nice. And then you will go in some companies that are much more relaxed. But on an interview, you come in with whatever. Now, watch hip and trendy clothes. A, your body better be hip and trendy to wear them. That's number one. And number two, you're not going to do that on an interview. You can do that if the company allows you to wear little funky clothes, but you have to make sure on an interview, again, that you're dressed appropriately. And if you go on an interview and they say on a second interview, well, you can come back and be more relaxed, watch what that person is telling you. How relaxed are they? Maybe they don't have a tie on for the men, so then you would just maybe come without the tie, but still maybe a sports jacket or a nice long sleeve shirt. And for the women, maybe I wouldn't be quite in a suit like this. Maybe it would just be a blouse and a nice jacket. So again, now update your wardrobe, so it's not be again what you have on from college to there. It's going to have to be some things. But again, they don't have to be expensive clothes. They just have to be pressed. They have to look nice. And so they just have to be appropriate for the dress code for that building. And a little bit of quality. So you might want to have that one suit or that nice dress or that nice, nice blouse and skirt or whatever it may be. Now, different clothes are here. You can see them up here. Again, it's appropriate for whatever. But the gentleman here, right here with the suit, the coat and tie, that's how you're going to go. And then the women on both sides, again, with how you would appear for your interview. I don't care if you're going to McDonald's to work. You're still going to go in a business suit, and the ladies the same way. Obviously, you won't wear that after that. It still has to be that first impression when you go. Okay, again, the accessories. We do live in Texas. You may not be here from originally, but this is where we are right now. Boots, believe it or not, are very acceptable in an office. A lot of people wear boots. But again, they can't look like you just came outside and they're dusty, dirty, muddy, and everything else. You just can't like come off, like roping cows or whatever people do, or whatever you rope, I don't know. And so they have to be clean, they have to be shine, they have to look nice. And again, they have to be appropriate for where you are and what you're doing. Ladies, be very, very careful with what goes on your feet. That they need to be appropriate for there. No sandals that are like rubber, nothing rubber, no flip-flops. They have to be nice sandals. Again, an office may have a dress code on that, so be very, very careful. If you have to get up and think twice about what's going to go on your feet, then don't wear them. So just be very, very careful about that. Any questions about anything so far? Okay.
She has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Also, I've heard that whenever you wear open-toed shoes, you're supposed to wear pants.
The opposite.
Okay.
Quite the opposite. Her question was, and I'm going to make sure I say this right, if you have open-toed shoes on, this goes for both men and women, so we'll take the woman first. If you have open-toed shoes on, then that's when your legs would be bare, because that's exactly what they mean, that the toes have to be open-toed. So that's when you would not have nylons on or pantyhose. And so, but if they're enclosed like mine are, then you can wear nylons. And there are times where ladies, you should wear nylons. For that, maybe that first interview, I know you're all going, oh. So, I mean, if you're my generation, you wear them all the time. If it's 110 degrees out, you're still wearing them. It's just my generation does that. The younger ones, it's like, oh my gosh, what are they? What, I have to put them on? They're ridiculous. But at times, you might have to do that. So open-toed means you do not wear them. And sometimes when you'll see them is when people get all dressed up for like a nice evening, and they have like a nice black dress on, and they'll have the black nylons, and they have the open toed. So it's the opposite. Open toed means that they should be open. To the gentleman, we are in the United States. Europe is a whole other thing, but since we are in the United States, if you ever wear sandals, please, 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 never have socks on, okay? I know it's very cool in other countries, but we're in the United States for the moment. I travel every single week. I'm going someplace. So I sit on a plane, and I sit on a plane and I make it, it's like a thing, as I'm dodging things that are coming down the aisles from hitting me, but I watch people's feet go by. I have to do something. Since I travel so much, I have to totally entertain myself. And so I always sit in the lobby and I watch people go by me. When they go by me, I give them a name, I give them a salary, I give them a job, I give them everything, just as they go by, because I'm like totally bored sitting there. And so, but it is, because it's their first impression. And so they make that same first impression of you. But as they go by me in the plane, I'm sitting there watching their feet, thinking, oh, they need a manicure, oh, they should change their shoes, oh my gosh, get those socks off, oh my, I'm just watching all these things go by me. So you never want to fly with me, you don't want to go with me. So I'm not a good person to fly. But to the gentleman in the room, this is a little bit for you, because this is a true statement. Women's clothes, women's fashion changes every second of every day. Women's fashions change that much. Gentlemen, your clothes change, your fashions change every decade. That's a fashion statement. Now, some of you may love clothes and you're going to change them all the time, but as a statement, that's how much they go. But this is what you need to remember. One thing you need to remember, you need to match your belt to your shoes. Got it? So if you have a black belt on, you have to have a black, this does not apply to your sneakers that you may have on right now, but you have to have a black belt on and black shoes, or a brown belt. That's very, very important when you're getting, especially if you don't have a jacket on, so make sure about that. Your ties. Gentlemen, tell me, where should a tie hit? When your tie comes down, where should it hit? Belt buckle. It can either be the top, or the ideal is right in the middle of your belt. Now, when you wear these ties, please don't have your tie come in 25 feet before you do. I mean, they have to coordinate nicely with your suit. So make it match your shirt or your jacket, or hopefully both, okay? You're pointing to somebody. Okay, don't, just make sure. The other thing is, when you sit and have this interview, by the way, the interview statistics for to be interviewed for a job, the statistics are staggering, how the percentage that you will be interviewed over a meal for your job. So be very, very prepared for that. So that way, that's why this is up here. It's like 80-some% that in a position that you will be qualified for because you're very intelligent, so you're going for a higher salary, chances are you're in that 80%, you will be interviewed for an interview. You'll have it over a meal because they want to see how you'll present yourself, so they'll want to see how you can eat. So when you're sitting there, gentlemen, please never take that tie and flip it. Because I will appear from somewhere. I will just appear. And I will be back there on that shoulder, and I will be flipping it back over, and it will just somehow or other just lay back down there again. So leave the tie there. Actually, it's really cool again, the tie clasps are back in again. So you can do it. Never have your tie clasp bigger than your tie. It has to be smaller than the tie. But it can be there, and it actually goes between your third and fourth button. Very unimportant, but I'm just telling you. And so it's there. But you can't. Ladies, the same things. If you would have a scarf and she would have it tied, the scarf here, again, you can't take your scarf and like flip it over your shoulder and eat lunch. It has to stay right here. So it can't go anywhere. So it goes.
So not behind the table, not behind the chair or anything like that? You're going to remove it and put it in the back of the chair? I guess not.
No, but it was a nice try. Okay. Now, if you come in and it matches, like if it's a big scarf, like a wool scarf for your coat, then you would take that off and you would do that. But if it's a scarf like she has on, and it's part of your outfit, or she has on, and she's going to keep on as part of it, it stays there. It has to stay there. It's not. I wear another scarf that matches my coat. I take that off with the coat. That's different. But if it's with the outfit, then it stays with the outfit.
No scarves, please.
No scarves. I should have just left it where it was. So, gentlemen, the other thing, protocol actually states Then a man, if you come into your lunch with a suit jacket on, you sit with the suit jacket on. Do not take it off. This is an old, protocol is thousands of years old. The only reason why you would take your suit jacket off, which is an old protocol, is if this woman is cold, you would actually offer it to her to keep her warm. That's where it comes from. So if you want to be a nice gentleman, you may offer it, but so be prepared. You're going to come and it's 110 degrees and you know you're going to sit outside. You might want to take that jacket off before you hit that table. So it's just going to stay on. There's a lot of protocol that goes in with all of this. Now, I see a couple of you have hats on in here. Gentlemen, you come into a building, a hat should come off. So you come into an office, you come into someone's home, a hat should come off. Ladies, if you have like a baseball cap on and you're having a bad hair day and you have your nice little cute little ponytail, your hat comes off. So the only time a hat would stay on is if you're going to church, ladies, and your hat matches your outfit and it matches your beautiful thing, or you're going to Kentucky Derby. So at the moment, we're not at the Kentucky Derby, we're not in church. So there you go. Just remember these things. Shoes the whole way down, again, make sure they're buff, they're shiny, make sure you consider all that before you go on an interview. You can spend $1.98 and buy a little buffer. If you get to travel like I do, and you go to a hotel where they give you shampoo or lotion or whatever in the room, don't take any of that stuff. But if they give you like a little buffer in the room, take those things. Take this. And even if you're walking down the hallway to go to the elevator and you see like a housekeeping cart there, no. teasing. Don't take them off of there. You might get one in your room, but just take them. I keep them in my purse. I keep them in my car because I want my shoes always to look shiny because it just completes your outfit. And gentlemen, just make sure that, if you have on your black belt, that you're going to wear your black shoes, you complete your outfit that it matches the whole way. Ladies, if you have, say a khaki pair of slacks on and a black top, then your shoes are going to be black. Just make sure everything's coordinated the whole way through, and it'll look nice. Socks the same way, men. Make sure you wear them. That's number one. That's a big to-do. Yes, sir?
Do you have a coordinated belt in the shoes?
It should be actually, the socks should coordinate with your slacks. It should follow through with your slacks. So if you have a lighter pair of slacks on, you want your socks to follow through because then the socks add to your height. It'll make you look taller and thinner, leaner. So that's what you're going for. You don't want to cut your socks off and wear, maybe if you have like a khaki pair of slacks on and darker shoes, it would cut you off. So you want your socks to go with your slacks. Also, pants, as we call them here in the United States, again, be very, very careful because pants in a lot of other countries means your underwear. So if you say, oh, I really like your pants, they're thinking, oh. Okay, so I try very hard to call them slacks or trousers instead of pants, and that way you're not thinking you're complimenting their underwear. So then again, here in the United States, we see a lot of underwear, so I don't know. And the last thing is your stretch and pull. What I mean by stretch and pull is when you get dressed, this is for men and women, when you get dressed and you tuck in a shirt or tuck in a blouse, don't just tuck it in and throw it in here. Tuck it in and put your thumbs in and stretch it out. So it's not all bulky right here. Stretch it, then it's stretched out so it gives you a more flat look here. But don't stretch it so much that you've got all this water material here on the side. So kind of stretch it that it's a nice even look and it looks like you finished and you got, when you were dressed in the morning. Any questions? Okay, good. Now, to be professional again, it's how you want to be perceived. So when you come in there, because unfortunately they will see how you look before you can sound intelligent or come across with everything you've studied in all these years or your experience. It's your appearance is what's going to come across. Stand up straight. So when your mother always told you to stand up straight, keep your shoulders back. You do. You want to come in. You don't want to just kind of slouch in. You don't want to be hurried. You don't want to do any of those things. Look like you are a leader, like you demand $200,000 in a salary. I mean, go big. And so, or more. You want a car, you want everything else, so just go and do it. But you have to have that look. You have to look like you know what you're talking about. So it's important. Now, if you're not sure, then ask. If you get an invitation to come on this April 4th and there's not any, what the appearance is or what the dress code is, then ask and just say, should we come in suits? Should we come just in a nice pair of slacks and a shirt? What should we wear for the ladies? Can we do what? ask what the dress is going to be. So you represent yourself well, you represent the college well, which is going to be nice. And a personal shopper. There are stores that have personal shoppers. You don't have to buy anything, but they'll help you with some of your selections, and I can do that also. Okay? Now, the twos, ladies, this goes to you. Not too short, not too tight, not too low, and not too high. Think about that. You can figure it all out. So, now, again, remember your age. You're all, on a whole, pretty young, so, but just, dress your age, not like you're 16 and 17 anymore. Keep in mind your dimensions, your style, your perception, and how you'll come across with your ring. Okay? Yes, I'm sorry.
The other day, I was at the Capitol, and I seen a few ladies with, say, a short skirt or a short dress, but yet they wore pantyhose. Is that appropriate?
It should never be a skirt. She asked the question, Capitol as in Austin Capitol, or are we
Yes,
talking Washington DC Capitol?
Austin.
Austin Capitol, okay. She said she saw some ladies at Austin, or State Capitol, and they had some shorter skirts on. My opinion on that, a lot of, on a whole, a dress code in an office will say it never should be more than 3 inches above your knee. That's pretty short. That's even short. I think it should be always basically where this is right at the middle of your knee or the top of your knee. That's, I think, appropriate for an office dress. And then, evening, that's totally up to you. And then with or without nylons, 3 inches above the knee, no more than that is appropriate. But higher than that is inappropriate for an office. So if you're going to go out after work, then you bring clothes to change or do that. Nylons help it a lot. They're more flattering to your legs, and they help your legs. They make your legs look better. Some ladies are blessed and have beautiful legs, and smaller legs and that. But if not, nylons sure will help a lot. But still, they should not be, like I said, appropriate dresses at the knee or no more than 3 inches above the knee, with nylons or not. Yes.
So
or no?
how
Thank
about
you.
longer?
Longer's fine, but you need to find, she asked if longer. Longer's fine, but you just need to find what works the best for you. And, what's the most comfortable for you, and to do that. And then there's, say I actually did a dress code for a company, and they were saying, but they have a casual Friday and they have all that. And the dress code will be very specific about where they can be. They allow capri pants, and they allow difference, but again, it makes a difference how long they are, how wide they are. They can't be tight. You can wear ankle slacks. They're very specific about what you can wear. And so, Doris.
The April 4th summit is going to be business casual.
Okay, business casual. Fine. What kind of slacks do you have on right now? Perfect. Could you come up here for a second? This would be a great business casual, what she has on now. She has... her ensemble. She does. She has they're a nice pinstripe slacks, ladies. She has heels on. That's the most important thing. Now, he said like 12:30 to 8. That's a long time, but I've had these heels on all day long, and mine are, even higher. So wear something that's comfortable, but yet looks professional. They're nice, they're clean, they're shiny, and then her sweater, her blouse complements the stripes, the pinstripes in there. This would be nice. But the other thing is too, she also has a necklace on. So complement it with some nice jewelry. And so Marcia, right out there, okay, Marcia, she has no idea what we're going to do to her. Come on up here, it's your turn. It's too late, you're beyond help. Same scenario, same outfit she has on. She has a jacket, thank you. She has a jacket, again, this would be very nice. And so, again, it's still business casual, because business takes it. What the difference between business casual and business, mine is a matching outfit. It's when your jacket matches your slacks or your skirt. So a man, if your jacket does not match, it's no longer a business suit. A woman, this is business casual because her jacket does not match. It matches, but it's not identical. So that's where the difference comes in. Her sweater is more of a sweater. Mine isn't even a collar, so mine is not even the ultimate in business, because it would almost be a collared blouse type tailored, where I'm not quite wearing that. So there's all kinds of levels to it. So again, this would be an appropriate outfit. Basically what she has on with a jacket makes all the difference in the world. There was a couple other people I saw that had on some sweater. Thank you, ma'am, very much. Yay. There was another woman I saw there that had on a gray sweater and a pair of socks. I watched her. She was standing there waiting for somebody. Where did she go? She was out there waiting. I saw her. Anyway, she had a nice gray sweater on and a pair of slacks. That was nice. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm over 6 foot. Wearing heels becomes more of a problem than usually it's work because people are then staring at you.
No, you got an advantage. Not when you're 5'4", that I try to be 6 foot, okay? So I'm not. So you're fine. But make sure if you wear like a ballet slipper or a flat or something, it's leather. Make it a nice leather. It's an expensive leather, but it's leather. Just make sure it's pretty. And make it that it's enclosed, not a sandal. Those little things, the leather as opposed to rubber or enclosed as opposed to open-toed, that's the difference. These people that are going to be there, they look at these things. And some of them, they may be older and they're not quite hip and trendy. And so they want somebody that's going to be, that they can be a good role model to. So you got to think of those things. Okay? These are good questions. These are excellent questions. Okay. Next, we're going to get into working the room. I purposely stood out there tonight when you came in. I wanted to see how many of you would look at me. That was number one, this woman standing up against this machine that was there. And whenever she said, this is a book from the author, some of you went, oh, and then shook my hand, and some of you could have cared less and just kept right. It was like a test. I wanted you to look at me and shake my hand. Very few of you did. So to the ones that did, congratulations, you kind of got like a little star. So you did, yes you did. And so that was a test. On April 4th, you better be shaking more hands and kissing more babies than you can possibly think of, okay? Because that's what you need to be doing. You need to open up. Some of you may be very shy. Get over it, okay? That's it. You've got to get over it. You've got to make yourself, force yourself to get out there. And everything I'm telling you today, if you are going to do the voucher things, if that's what it is, if you're shy or you don't like to talk to people, that could be your hour. Because I am so not shy and so not talking. I mean, I talk to people all the time. That could be how I would help you with stuff like that. And so just kind of go and go there. But anyway, that's why I stood there. I wanted to see how many would turn to me, shake my hand, and tell me their name. And I didn't get a real good response on that. So I stood there a long time and I waited. So that's what I need you to do. So that's going to change. On April 4th, you are going to do that. So that's the purpose of that. Now, your entrance. I was very pleased with a lot of you. A huge percentage of you were here very, very early. It could have been because you were done with class and you had no other place to go. I don't know what that might have been. It doesn't matter, but you were here early. So I don't care how you got here. That's impressive. Now, when you're going on an interview, you want to get to the place early, but you don't have to come inside early. You don't have to be there like an hour early because it makes people uncomfortable. But make sure you walk in at least 5 to 10 minutes before if it's 7 o'clock or, well, you would meet at 7 o'clock, but you would meet, like at 1 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning or whatever. By 10:15, 10:20, you want to be walking in that building. You don't want to come in too much earlier than that because you make people uncomfortable because they have other things to be doing. And you're thinking to myself, boy, this all they have to do is sit here for an hour and wait for me. So, you want to come in and do that, but just, be that. So punctuality is very, very, very important with all that. Again, you're going to be appropriately dressed. Arriving and departing, this is on a reception. When you come into reception, you want to be there. If it's just an open reception and there's all kinds of food and all things like that, if it starts, we'll say at 6:30, you want to be there. Not 6:30 like you don't want to be the first one there and the last one to leave. You don't want to get that kind of a brand or reputation and eat all the drinks and food or eat the food and drink and all that. But you want to be there. But you want to stay, the time that they say that you should stay to reception is 45 minutes. So if it's an hour and a half, 45 minutes, you can leave. Even if it's bad, you should stay 45 minutes. If it's good, you can stay a little bit longer. But don't just go, okay, 45 minutes, okay, I'm gone, bye. And never say, I'm going to a better party. And leave, and, just 45 minutes, you've done your appointed time, you may leave at that point in time. And so just make sure, you get all that. Now, if this were tonight If this were a stand-up reception, there was a bar and there was food and there was all your friends, would you go first? And be honest.
Bar.
Thank you, I love your honesty. Most definitely, especially if it's free, you're going to the bar. So, people would spend, then you go to the bar, then you go to the food, and then you go to your friends. All three are wrong. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna get to the bar eventually, but what you're gonna do is, you wanna go in and find your host or hostess, whomever's in charge of whatever's going on. Go up to them and say, oh, thank you so much for inviting me to whatever it is. A couple little things about what a beautiful evening this is, or thank you so much. Boom, you're gone. Do not spend a lot of time because they got, 80 other people to talk to. And then that's it. You don't do anything else. You're not doing, business cards. You're not doing a whole bunch of other things because they got 80 other people. They're not going to remember you. But what you do the next day is you send a note with your business card thanking them for inviting you to this event. They're going to remember you that way, not the night before. Because they get back to their hotel room or their office or their home, they're looking at 50 cards. They're thinking, I don't remember who these people are. They throw them away. Trust me, that's spoken from experience. And so, believe me on that. But the next day, when I get a thank you note or 2 days later, and I get this thank you note, I say, oh my gosh, she sends me a thank you note, I will remember that with a business card in there. That will stick with me. So just little tips like that. Okay? The best group to approach, walk up to 1 or 2 people. So if these 2 ladies are standing there, that's the group I'm going to go to. But if these 5 or 6 or 7 people, don't enter that group. You won't get into it unless these are old friends of yours. But if you want to meet maybe her, she's not going to let you in because she's too busy with 5 or 6 other people. Wait till you can either catch her by herself or maybe just the 2 of them alone. Because she's too busy. Not that she doesn't like you or want to talk to you, but she's too busy in a conversation. So do that. And again, don't take too much of her time. Be quick, say what you want to say. Can we set up a lunch? Can we do this? Then you can give her a business card because that was a one-on-one, but not your host or hostess, and then she can do that. But if you see her with a lot of people, she doesn't have time. Not that she doesn't want to, but you just have to work it and do it that way. Now, again, you got to have a good attitude before. Yes, sir.
I have a question. You keep mentioning business cards. I mean, myself, I haven't really gone into anything really professionally. So I don't really have sort of a business card. Would it be good to have some sort of student?
Most definitely. Did you hear his question or what he was saying? You all should have a business card. And what it would say on there is student at Ridgeland College, student at El Centro, student at wherever you may be, and then put your major so they know what you're doing. And you can put that you're a STEM scholar. I mean, say it, advertise it. My gosh, you're working for it. Do that. And we're going to show you exactly how to exchange them and everything else. And you better have them by April 4th. You got a couple months to do it, so by all means have them. Don't make them colorful and crazy and everything else. Don't make them pure, plain, boring white. But just everybody in this room, that should be like an assignment. There you go, making an assignment. Yes, sir.
In a situation like that where you meet someone and the next day you would send them a thank you letter with your business card?
Yes.
What if you don't necessarily have their contact information?
Oh, you can find it. Okay, he said, so if you meet somebody there, you run around the room. I've done this 1,000 times. Or someone will come up to me. Okay, Fred, right here. Fred came up to me and said, so good to see you. And I'm thinking, oh, how do I know him? Why did he say so good to see you? I'm thinking, why do I know Fred? Why would I know this man? And then he so nicely told me. But if he wouldn't have told me how he knew me, I'd have spent the next 15 minutes running around the room saying, do you know who this man is over here in that wine-colored sweatshirt? Do you know who this man is over here in this one? I would have searched that room until I found out who that man was. I do that all the time. And someone's going to know him. And then I write it down who he is, and then I verify it with somebody. I'll call his office the next day and make sure I have the right mailing address. Or you go on, now, my gosh, you guys are all set. You're much smarter than I am on these things. Within seconds, you can find out who Fred is, with a first and last name, and get a mailing address, and that's how you do it. So, okay, you can do it. I do. I run around all the time whispering. That person is behind you. I do it all the time because as a speaker, people know me. I just don't know them a lot of the times because you're up here, and so. But you can find out. It's easy enough. It just takes you a little bit of time to do it. Now, Again, so be organized, go in there. A lot of conventions, as you get into this world, a lot of conventions, they will give you a list of people that are going to attend before you even get there. So you know who you want to find during those conventions. I concentrate on that before I go to a meeting or a convention. I want to see this, 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 and this person. So when I get there, and it's easier because I already have a mailing list. I already have my names, or at least an email list that I can get back to these people. And then you go, you get it from there. And then, you know, why are you here? Why are you here tonight? This could be mandatory. I don't know. You might have to be listening to me. Is it mandatory? Okay, there you go. You're forced to be here tonight. So forget that idea. Okay. Sometimes you just go because you want to learn something, or you go because it will help your career, it'll help you with what you're doing. And then, again, who paid for you to be here? So it's just part of everything that you're doing. Now, the eating, the drinking, the talking, and all that. Some people will go just for the free food and drinks, that's great. I mean, that's a great meal out of the whole deal. So you can eventually drink and eat, but make sure you meet the key people that are there. I mean, this could be a future job for you, it could be a future promotion for you. It's a wealth of information out there. Right now, you're sitting in an area, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that is just, it's endless what could be here, or the state of Texas. And we're one of the states that's at least not bankrupt. And so, I mean, it's great to be here, at least we have jobs. And so, take advantage of that. Now, as far as eating, when I go to reception, honestly, I will stop at a McDonald's or a Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen's hard to find. But I stop at and I will get like a McFlurry or Hawaiian breeze, whatever, that'll hold me over, so I'm not gonna be dying of hunger. And so that way I can work the room. And then at the end, if I see someone, I say, would you like to have a drink? And then we go over here and we'll go to a table so I can capture them for a little bit and talk to them. And so you can eat. Now, some of you are of age, and some of you probably drink of not being of age, but some of you are of age. But just remember, be very, very careful about drinking, seriously. Because if you want to have a drink, then have that one drink all night, because you've worked too hard to where you are, and then you have to see these people the next day. You have to see these people maybe on Monday or whatever the case might be. Don't ruin it because you're taking advantage of the free drinks that are there. You can drink, you can have that eventually. Do not ruin it. I've watched too many people do that at reception. It's insane. So just think about that. It's crazy. Do that other times. And people say, what do you talk about? Go into reception or dinner or a program with 10 topics. 10, not 3, 10 topics. They can be anything. They can be about sports. We've got enough sports in this area to keep 10 topics going right there. Talk about the weather. Talk about, whatever it may be. Talk about things that are going on at different campuses. Do not talk about politics. Do not talk about religion. And do not ask personal questions. Just random, other useless stuff. But whatever you ask them, make sure you're paying attention. So that way you can keep the conversation going. Or just say, well, tell me what you do. You don't have to ask them anything else. People love to talk about themselves. But pay attention, because if they say something, you don't want to ask them the same question. So just make sure you're going there. And then just move on. If they're going, or they're looking around the room, they're bored with you, then go on with somebody else. They're done. So they're just done. Just thank you for their time and then move on. They're over it. Again, be out there, move around, chit-chat, talk to people. Now, what I mean about group table and meal, never come and sit down to a table without just going, hi, hi, waving. Never, ever, ever, ever do that. Come down, and before you sit down, go around and introduce yourself to everybody. Walk around that table and introduce yourself to every single person there. Because at a luncheon, you could be sitting there for an hour and a half with these people, and you've missed a golden opportunity by introducing yourself to that man, and he could be your next job, or he could be another contract for you, or whatever it may be. So walk around the table, and I do that every meal I go to. I never sit down, and people always say to me, oh, you should do that. I'm thinking, well, I've seen you 3 or 4 times. You say that every time, then you should be doing it. So just make sure you do it. Now, tell me your first name. Victoria. Say Victoria comes up to me at a reception, and I'm standing here by myself, and she's talking to me and talking to me and talking to me, and which is great. I really want to meet Victoria, but I want to move on. I want to go meet somebody else, but she just keeps talking to me. I said, well, Victoria, it's so nice to meet you. Don't take this personally, but so nice to meet you. I'm going to go get something to drink. Victoria says, well, I'm thirsty. I'll go with you. Okay, so now I still have Victoria. And so Victoria's so nice to meet you. I'm going to go get something to eat. Victoria's going to say, well, I'm hungry. So she stays with me. She's a woman, so I can say, well, Victoria, I'm going to go to the bathroom. But chances are she's going to say, I'm going to go to the bathroom with you. So it's not working. So what you do instead, you see someone. Okay, tell me what your first name is, my 6-foot person.
My name's Heather.
Heather? Okay, I see Heather way across the room. And I'm thinking, okay, this is good. Victoria, I want you to meet Heather. Heather and I worked on the same program together. So I take her across the room to Heather, okay? And I say, Heather, I want you to meet Victoria. Victoria and I just met. Victoria does da 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 da. I give her a little intro on her. And then Heather does da 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 da. Victoria, a pleasure to meet you. Heather, so good to see you. I'm gone. I'm gone. Okay? Now, Heather calls me the next day, and she said, why did you give me Victoria? She stayed with me all night. But what Heather should have done, she should have gone across the room and introduced her to somebody else over there. Then she's gone. But Victoria thinks, oh my gosh, I met so many people there. And it works all the time. But just keep passing them along. So there's a lot of things. If people just don't leave, just, you know, oh, I just need to go on. There's a lot of different excuses to get rid of people, but that one works the best. And it's the easiest to do. Okay. Yes?
When a conversation like dies down and it's like time for both of you to sleep with, like, what do you say?
Just end it was such a pleasure to see you again. I mean, if you're good friends, you can hug them. I will see you later, and then just immediately. Don't give them a chance to say anything else, literally. Just, it was so great to see you. And you know when it's starting to die down. You know, shake hands, goodbye, or if it's not in a situation you either want, just say, it was so good to see you, and then be gone. Let's just be gone. Just go away. After you do it a couple times, it's real easy. kind of throw something after a while. It's the wrong way. Okay, now, turn to the people around you and shake their hands for me, please. Shake hands.
Hi, Joe. My name's Landon. Really nice seeing you. I'm Landon.
On a whole, that was actually your time to stretch for a little bit. So, but on a whole, you didn't take advantage of it. Other than about 3 or 4 people, you were all wrong. Tell me why you were wrong. Oh, don't give me that. So, he was right, Doris was right, she stood up. I don't know if she stood up because Doris stood up, but she was right, and a couple over here. So this was like my side. I don't know what happened to this side. None of them stood up. Every time you're going to shake hands with a person, you stand up. Even if you're seated next to one another, either you stand up or you give what I call a bottoms up. Meaning, you get your bottom up off it. That's exactly what you do. So, if you two are going to shake hands, just the little bottoms up to each other. There you go. That's it. Now, this chair is rolled, so make sure you're not going to like roll yourself right out of the chair. All it is, there's a couple reasons to why you would stand up. It shows respect for the other person. That's number one. It's respect because you're showing that. Like when I said I walk around the table, it's amazing how many people do not stand up. But they know me, and so most of them will like jump out of their seats immediately to stand up for me. Or the other thing is, if the person is standing, statistically, it will show you this, that they're in control of the conversation. So if I want control, I will come in so tight and close to Cece, I will give her the chance to stand up. I will take, and it's been proven, I will take control of that conversation. So if I want something, which I usually do, I will win that conversation. But if she would have stood up, so when you see me coming, always just stand up. Just stand up. So, but if she sees me coming, she should stand up. That way she's on an equal balance. I don't care if you are a lot taller than me. It still puts you on that equal balance, and then you have an equal time in that conversation. So if you want like a promotion or a raise, then come into your boss and don't let them stand, and you will keep control of that. Or your professor, you want an A, so just stand real close. Yeah, use you for 1 second.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to show you quickly about a proper handshake that you're going to use on April 4th. When you go up to shake hands with somebody, we're in the United States for the moment. So, well, we are in the United States, just for the moment, because I'm going to take you out of the United States. And what you want to do is you want to stand shoulder to shoulder to this person. and you want to stand. In the United States, we're about 2.5 feet apart from each other. In other countries, as we know, some countries will come up to you so tight that don't move away. Because if you move away, they're going to chase you to that wall. They're going to stay on you. So don't go anywhere. Some countries, I feel like I'm so close, I can feel their eyelashes on my cheeks. They're so close to me. Some countries will touch. They touch everywhere. Okay, or they'll keep their arms there. Okay, so do I. But in the United States, on a whole, we hug, but we're not as touchy as other countries are. Other countries, they may touch and shake your hand, but then they will move away. More Asian countries, they like their distance. Don't come after them. Leave them. Leave after their distance. Just leave them. So we're back in the United States again. So we're about 2.5 feet apart from each other. The reason why you're going to stand shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet, heart to heart, eyes to eyes. So when they say their name to you, you might remember it. Don't be like, like focus some other place. Stay on this person for the moment. Now, how many times are you going to shake this person's hand? 2 to 3. 2 to 3. Again, other countries like Germany, they'll do one big, okay. So if they do one, don't say, are you from Germany? Don't say that. Or if they only give you one, don't do it again because you're going to say, well, Colleen said we should do at least 2 or 3. Now, if someone shakes your hand over and over and over, which you will get, and you know, now you're kind of like moving. So they're shaking. So I'll say, Cece, tell me what you do. She may not release this, but she might just a little bit. So that little bit, that's when you have to let go. At that point. Now, a lot of people, go ahead and put your other hand on top. A lot of people will give you this. They'll give you the double handshake. So don't keep going. Don't do that. Don't touch, because then you're locked in there forever. She shake my hand. Think about this. This could be a future employer. Should she shake my hand?
Yeah. Oh yes, you mentioned.
I'm not sick. I've allergies, but I'm not sick. Yes. The reason why is, as a human being, you wash your hands 22 to 33 times a day. If you don't believe me, count tomorrow. If you have young children, then you will wash them even more than that. But you do, hopefully with soap, but you do wash them that many times. That's like taking showers, that's hopefully going to the bathroom, it's whatever you do, but you're going to wash your hands. So we are cleaner than touching the tables, touching food, touching doors, touching whatever. We're much, much cleaner than that. Now, carry hand sanitizer though. Please, please, please. But I don't want her to whoop out the hand sanitizer when I'm standing there and like sterilize her body. Let me walk away a little bit and then she can do that, whatever she wants to do. Same thing, some of you have like slimy hands, like wet hands. If you do, carry a tissue in your pocket or something that you can absorb it a little bit. So before you shake someone's hand, at least put your hand in there and absorb it a little bit and then you can shake. Same scenario, if you shake someone's hand that's real wet, don't run it down, your legs, and then, or sanitize the whole thing. Again, let them go away, or just stand there and hopefully with all that. So this is the most important thing with the handshake. And the few people a lot of you had really good handshakes, some of you did not. This is what I want you to remember. Come in, this is the United States, come in web to web. That's the most important thing, web to web. So you want to come in the whole way and shake hands. The other thing is you want to come thumbs up. Do not give me a power shake where you turn your thumb over and your palms on top. I may be short, but I will flip your hand back so fast, I'll probably put you on the ground. Make sure it's here, no power shakes. You just want to come, and it's a firm shake, not so hard that I'm going, I want a firm shake. Now, I always wear bracelets, and 99% of the time I will try to catch it, and I'll just by habit, I'll push my bracelet up so she's not getting a bracelet in the handshake. So if you have that, same thing if you have a larger ring, make sure you turn the ring. That again, a ring is not going to hurt yourself or somebody else. So just little things like that. This is important because this sometimes is your only contact with somebody and they make a big impression. It will make a big impression on them if you're coming in with a handshake like this or wimpy or whatever it may be. It's very, very important. Okay? So everything we talked about up there. Now, hugs and kisses. In the United States, we don't generally touch a cheek or whatever, and we'll go right to right, but it's just kind of air, which is fine. But in other countries, again, which are here, I mean, we're such a diverse culture that we have here, usually they will go in left to left because they want to touch hearts first. So they will go in and go left cheek to left, and then they may come back right, and then they may go left again, and then they might go right. Some will do 2, some will do 3, some will actually do 4. Some will kiss you on the forehead, some will actually kiss you on the nose, which is a great honor if you get that. So if you're confused, instead of going back and forth, just stand there. Let them go around you. So just figure it out, and you're kind of there. So, okay. These are different ways to do a handshake. You're in business. Just shake hands. You know, don't be like the hips and the, you know, the whole thing with it. Just shake hands and you're fine. Now, introductions. I'm going to give you a little bit on that. It's how. That's what I want you to remember. This is the basis of it. How. H-O-W. You want to remember hire first. That's when it's a rank. So the higher person, oops, sorry. There it is, sorry. A higher ranking authority is going to be introduced first. So you would say, Mr. President, I would like to introduce Miss Vice President. So a higher ranking's name is said first. Then, if there's no rank involved, then it's going to be older. But you're not going to say, excuse me, how old are you? Don't ask. Just guess which one's older. So when there's no rank, then it's going to be the older person's name first to the younger person. And again, when there's no rank involved, then a woman, Cece, would be introduced to a gentleman, to a man. So a woman's name is first. That's very basic. There's a lot of different things, like if she says she was at the state capitol, then politics always takes precedence over that. And there's a lot of different things but that's your basics, and that's the most important thing to know right then and there. Now, I put some things up here, and you are more than welcome to have this whole PowerPoint, because there's some things on here that I think are important to have, so we can, I'm sure we can get you all of this. But there's some things on here. The easiest way to say it, which is more formal, is may I introduce? May I present the governor of the state of Texas, or may I present the mayor of Dallas? The may I present is much more formal. May I present the ambassador? May I present? And you may come in contact with them, so it's kind of nice to know that. Informal, but not sloppy. Again, I'd like to introduce, to you, or this is, however you want to do it. But these are just some of the things that you might do with that. And then avoid expressions, which people say, well, shake hands with. Why don't you say that? Force people to say. Or, the other one is make the acquaintance of. And someone just said that to me. I thought, where did that come from? It just seemed like such a strange thing to say. And also, I would like to introduce you to. When you say that, you just made it opposite. You took the highest ranking person and made him a lower ranking person. So the you to reverses the way that it's the precedence of it. So make sure you don't say that. Then, no matter the situation, always give some kind of a starter. Exactly when I said Victoria to Heather, I said something about Victoria and I said something about Heather. Because if you are going to lead that conversation, you don't want to say, Victoria, this is Heather. This is Victoria. Goodbye. You've got to give them something. Victoria did this, and this. Heather did this, and this. A little something. Just their role at the company, or how long they've been at the company, or that they just joined the company, or where they came from, or something that they have something to, at least do it. The other thing is be very, very careful, especially if you're introducing, like your husband, or your partner, or your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Just say, well, this is my gorgeous, wonderful looking boyfriend. Well, maybe you think so, but just this is my boyfriend, or this is my partner, or this is my whatever. Just that's sufficient. Or if you have two friends, you introduce them, well, this is my very best friend, and this is my friend. So, kind of be nice. So just, you're kind of there, be happy. So, and then avoid pointing. They know who they are. You can open your whole hand, but don't point to people and say when you're introducing them. Just kind of avoid all that. And also don't go back and forth. Victoria, this is Heather. Heather, this is Victoria. They got it on the first. They got it. You don't have to go back and forth and say their names. So forgetting names too, like this is the whole Fred thing tonight. It says, I remember our meeting, but I just can't recall your name if you forget a person's name. And that happens a lot. So on the left hand, my left, your right. These are just a little bit nicer. I'm so sorry, but please tell me your name again. and I'm having trouble recalling your name. Now those work if you don't see this person every single week. You can't keep saying that over and over. So, it has to be a long time in between. And then the pronunciation, there's different ways, a lot of you in the room have different ways to pronounce your name. So just say, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful name. Could you please say that again to me? Or that sounds so pretty, am I saying it correctly? And not like, well, that's a weird name, or that's a weird name, or why would your parents name you that? I mean, just stay away from things like that, or, so it's bad. And then it's always good to say, I know, you'd be amazed what people say to me, because whenever I say to them, I always say, it's funny because I always say I'm an engineer. People say, what do you do? I always say I'm an electrical engineer. I always say that, because when I say I teach etiquette, no one ever wants to sit with me or eat with me. So I always lie about what I do. And then after we're done with lunch, I said, well, really, I'm not an engineer. I teach etiquette. They're like, oh. But I'm there. I'm at the table. I have a seat. I'm okay. But it's always nice to say, good to see you. That's what he said to me tonight. And I'm thinking, oh, does he just say that because that sounds nice? Or do he really mean it's good to see you? So it's all, because if you did meet that person before and they said, well, good to meet you, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I met this person like 3 or 4 times. It's like I'm over that. They should tell me it's good to see you. So just remember that. It's nice to say that. Now, meeting interviews, we've talked a little bit about this. Come 5 to 10 minutes early. Be there. Don't have your hands. This is where you have to get a nice briefcase or something. Don't come in, with a dolly either. Nice little, and ladies, 1 bag. Don't be carrying a briefcase and in a purse. You're not like a bag lady. Don't come in like with 2 bags. We have one, like, let me borrow this for a second. If you would have this, very nice, she would have this on her arm or on her arm. This is it, 1 bag. If she wants to put like cosmetics, it would be inside. Her briefcase would be in here. That's it, 1 bag. This is sufficient. It's not a diaper bag, nothing else. This is all she's going to come with. And it's there. And, carrying it here or carrying whichever is nicer and it matches whatever she has on. Not 2 bags, just a bag lady. Gentlemen, the same scenario. You would have a nice briefcase, a nice portfolio, whatever works for you, but have something. You all know about the resumes. I mean, you're going to take, just a whole bunch of resumes with you because you never know who's going to show up. You think you're going to meet 2 people and then 12 come into the room. Yes, sir.
Can you recover if you show up late for the interview?
You can sit out in the hall with her with her scarf on her coat. So, no. I'm trying to think what a good. His question was. He said, and you said, could you ever? Can you recover if you show up late for an interview? Late. It's hard. I mean, unless all of a sudden you were like in an accident, that you could recover from that, or. There better be a real good reason. You better be calling from the hospital. That's kind of joking. Well, that's not really a good joke, but it's hard because you need to plan. Like today, you didn't start till 6:30. I left my house like about 3:45 today to get here. And so, I stood out there for a long time because this to me is an interview. And I treat almost every day as an interview. And I want to be there. I'd rather be someplace waiting an hour, just out in my car than being late for an interview. You've got to remember this, especially in this area, there's very few places in this area that are not under construction. You've got to think about that. And especially if you're going into a new area, you don't know that, so you've got to give yourself a lot of time. And so, yeah, people are forgiving. It's not that they're not. But then if they would invite you back for another interview, then you better be very early. I was on Fox News. I get to be on Fox News a lot in the morning, if anybody watches that. And you have time slots that you're on TV. This is live TV, keep this in mind. And it's live TV, and I thought I left in plenty of time. Well, there was an accident everywhere I was going. When I got there, the editor, or not the editor, the manager or whatever, she was standing outside waiting for me to take my car and park it for me because my time slot was up. Believe it or not, they didn't invite me back again. When I got there, I was there 2 hours before my time was on. I just sat there all morning long. And she said, you're earlier. I said, And keep in mind, this is a morning show. And these are really early in the morning. I'm not a good morning person. But I was there 2 hours before my time was on. So they knew that that would never, ever happen to me again. So they gave me a second shot. And I've been on there since quite a bit. So I guess you do get a second shot at it. But you better write them a nice thank you note after that. But when you get to your interview, always stand. Stand. Don't just come in and sit yourself down. I don't care if you know this person. So So if there's 2 chairs there, and they'll say, like, have a seat when they point, then you can say, do you mind where I sit? The reason why is because maybe their boss is going to come in. That's their seat. And all of a sudden, you just took it upon yourself to sit in that chair. And so now you already have 1 strike against you. But if you have a choice and they say, no, sit where you like, you always want to sit directly across from the person that's going to interview you or talk to you. Again, it's because you want that direct eye contact. And look them in the eyes and be smiling. Very, very, very important. So, and always have your right hand free because you want to shake hands with them. And avoid a table shake. Meaning, if this is a table when you come in, if that person doesn't stand up, don't invade their space, but at least come to the side of their desk and shake their hand. And shame on them for not giving you a bottoms up or standing up. But it's up to you to walk around and do it, and then come back. Yes, ma'am.
If you're female, you should smile.
Oh, yeah. She said, if you're a female, should you still smile? Yes. If you're a female, you should still stand up. Before, it used to be a lot of different rules, but I think about it, there's more ladies in the workplace than there are men. So rules have changed for all that. So a woman will now stand, a woman can shake hands first, a man can shake hands first. It's kind of equal out there now, which is nice in some things. So, but just important. Now, no table shakes, which we just talked about. Use their name. You don't have to keep using it over and over and over. Cece, how you doing? Cece, how's it going? Cece, I got it. So just, in the beginning and the end is sufficient. And again, good eye contact. Now, meeting tips, again, just some things on there because I want to get into the dining. I'm going to end up with that real quick. But just check their website. We just talked about that. Check their website before you go. You want to know if this company is going to be in business in 5 years from now. Are they, on the stock exchange? Where are they going? How much money do they have? Again, be appropriately dressed. Gum. Please do not. Did anybody watch the Academy Awards on Sunday night? Did anybody watch that at all? I was appalled that those movie stars were sitting in that audience and they were chewing gum. I kind of like 3 or 4 of them. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? These people make millions of dollars. They don't think those cameras are going to be on them. They sat there and chewing gum. I thought, oh, I'm going to talk about you. So they only knew that I was going to talk about them tonight. So no gum, no gum. If you have to chew gum, then spit it out before you get into that building, but make it go away. Now, I'm not going to go over all this because this is important, but this could be our one-on-ones to all of you. This is important, but not right now. I do want to do business cards. This is a business card holder, okay? Actually, protocol says a business card holder should be black. This is not really black, but I like this color. So this is my business card holder. You should all have business cards. Your deadline is April 4th, so you will have them by then. So have them easily accessible. Ladies, if you do have a deep purse, make sure there's like a little side pocket or someplace if someone says, do you have a business card? You can reach and get them right away. So you have your little business cards. They're in here. This is what I want you to remember. You will stand up to get a business card. If you are seated, that person's seated beside you, you will just do a bottoms up to them. It's a Japanese tradition. You stand up, you present with 2 hands and a slight bow. If the 2 hands is too much for you, then you will use your right hand and you will present. Still, the slight is not, okay, that has so good effect on it. This is the little bow saying, thank you for accepting my card. That's all you're saying is thank you for accepting my card, or if you take it back, thank you for giving me your card. But all I want you to remember is, this is the most important thing. My name is up here. I know you can't see that. I am presenting my name, my company, to them. So my name will be presented to them, not sideways and definitely not backwards. And most importantly, not thrown across the table. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, if you have a variety of things that you do, would it be better to place like individual things on different business cards or everything on one?
Unless they're related to each other. I have 2 companies. On the back of this one, I have co-founder of Global Protocol Etiquette Civility. So, but that's all I say. It's just a co-founder there. And I only have my 1 number and all that. And on the back, I have all my books listed. So I have a couple things going on here. But there's 2 companies, but I'm just giving you one way to reach me. So you can do it that way, but I have my main company on the front, so you can see my card. You can have my card. But so I have a couple going on. But if they're different companies, totally, mine are all etiquette driven. So, but if they're totally different, then you got to stick with one. okay? In different cards. So it's very, very important. So it's nice. It's not throwing, not anything, so just nicely presented. Gentlemen, if you have a card, where do you keep it? In your pocket, in a wallet, who said it? Yes, okay, pocket. Never ever put it in your wallet in your back pocket, and then you're sitting on it, okay? And I say, may I please have your business card? You say, yeah, just a moment. I don't care how cute it is back there. I don't want you grabbing it from back there. You're pulling it out, you're giving it to me. It's slightly bent and very warm, okay? I don't want it. Another country will not take it from you, so pocket, portfolio, some other place. Remember that. Very, very, very important. Okay, I'm going to zip ahead. Can I keep it for a couple more minutes? Is that okay? It won't be long. This is international. We can talk about that another time. But again, just be respectful of other cultures. Tipping, you have a book. There's a whole chapter on tipping in your book. Read it. It's very, very important. Okay, we're going to set the table. This is also in your book. There's a whole chapter. There's 4 chapters in there about dining. So this is important. I'm not saying memorize it all, but hopefully you'll get the gist of all of it. Now, there's different ways of table setting. Now, you know B&D. Do you all know B&D? Does anybody know B&D? Anybody want to give a hint what B&D means? Okay, here's your class. Put your left hand up. Make a small B. It's not sign language for B, but that's a small B. This is your right hand up. This is actually sign language for D. So when you look down and you're having that interview and you see all this place setting in front of you, you're thinking, oh my heavens, what is mine? What am I going to do? Think of this B&D in your mind. If you put this B&D in your mind straight down, because I really don't want you to be doing this on your interview. Okay? When you put this in your mind, this is your bread and butter plate. The bread and butter plate will be on the left. So that's the bread. Don't eat your neighbor's bread and butter. This is yours. And the D stands for all your drinks. These are your wine glasses. These are your this is your water glass. This is your coffee cup. So if your napkin comes and it's sitting in your coffee cup, you're there in your mind going, D, this is your napkin and your coffee cup. So again, you're not taking your neighbor's napkin and you're drinking your coffee. So very important. The other thing is BMW, the car. You have to have a BMW. It can't be a Mercedes, it can't be a Ford, it can't be a Chevy. It has to be a BMW. So that's easier to have any visual. Just think of BMW. Your bread, your meal, your water. Your bread, your meal, your wine. Your bread, your meal, your whiskey. It's all there. Okay? Now, if you come to the table, and this is your lunch that you're being interviewed, you come to the table and your napkin is set and your silverware is inside your napkin. This is becoming more common than not. And it's either set in the middle of the table or it's set here on your plate. How are you going to get this napkin with all this silverware? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to get this napkin on your lap? That's what worries me. Okay. It's not going to be going down, okay? Because he went, shh. Okay, and then you're not going to take this napkin and shake it out over here. You are not. Again, I will appear from somewhere. You take this napkin and tuck it in here. I will really hurt you if you do that. Okay, this is your napkin. This is a large napkin that covers half of my body. Okay, with this napkin, you can either put it in a triangle and it goes across you here at your waist. Or you can take this napkin and you can take it and it can be folded in a rectangle. And again, it goes across your waist here. You do not need, I promise you, you don't need this whole napkin over your body, okay? Or any parts of your body. Now, if it's like a lobster place, then they'll give you a bib or whatever, but we're talking a normal meal for an interview. So it's here. A napkin is to blot. You just blot. You're not going to cover your whole face. You're not blowing your nose. Nothing else is going on with this napkin. If you get up in the middle of the meal, then you take this napkin here in the middle and you just put it on the chair. Or you can put it on the back of the chair. Now, if you do put it on the back of the chair, don't come, sit down, turn around, grab the napkin, roll out as much as you and put it on your lap. Just as you're coming around nicely, take your napkin and come and sit down. One motion. Much, much, much nicer. This napkin stays on your lap the whole way through the meal until speakers are done, everybody's done, everything. This napkin stays on your lap until you're ready to stand up and move out the door. And then it comes up. If they've removed all your plates, then it can go, right here in the middle where it was. If they didn't remove your plate, say your dessert plate is here, then it'll go to the left. This is in your book also, it's there. Never, never, I'll repeat that again, never, if this is a paper napkin, wad up that napkin and throw it in your plate. I will hurt you again on that one. So, no. Again, just leave it nice and it'll go right there on the side. Okay? Now, next. The pickup. And I don't mean that any other way other than with this fork right here. If you pick up something as you're eating, don't place it back on the table. That's resting on the table. I tell my little kids whenever I teach those classes that the ants can crawl up here and dive into your plate. It goes on your plate. It rests on your plate. That's a resting position on your plate. So don't leave it, or even worse, put it there or put it there. It stays on the plate. It just goes there. Again, if you've been invited to this for an interview, then follow the host or hostess. Say she's the hostess, then when she picks up her cup, then you can pick up your cup. When she picks up her fork for the first time, that's when you start your meal. She may tell everybody at the table, enjoy your meal, bon appetit, that's your sign, then you fall. But you don't start to eat until everybody at your table has been served and your hostess starts the whole service. So you go from there. Now, what to wear, again, be very, very, you're invited to a luncheon or a dinner, be appropriately dressed. It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. If in doubt, wear something a little bit nicer. Punctuality, again, be on time. Be on time. And then, just make sure you get there. That's number 2. Just remember that. I'll tell you what number 1 is, and I'll tell you what my purpose is behind that. What to order. If I've invited you to lunch someplace, chances are I'm familiar with that restaurant. When you get there and you say, and you don't know what to order, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, if she orders a bowl of soup, is that all I'm going to get for this whole, I got dressed up to come here for a bowl of soup? But because I eat a lot of salads for lunch, but I'll get like a bigger salad. Doesn't mean you have to have a salad, but don't order like a 3-course meal either. You can get a sandwich or something like that. But this is what you say. Well, are you familiar with this restaurant? And you say, oh yeah, I come here all the time. What would you recommend? But I always try to offer to people, this is what their salmon's really good here, their fish is good here, their steaks are good here. I try to make offers to people so they know what to go. But if they don't, and they're not giving you anything, just order what you would normally pay and get for lunch. Don't go overboard with, well, I'm gonna get appetizers, I'm gonna get a main course. I'm gonna take all this and I'm gonna take a doggy back home. No, you're not. So, no, you're not. So, just, kind of stay with that. Foods to avoid on an interview. Don't do anything that's you're going to like slurp or, have to like drips that, all that kind of stuff. Make it easy. Salads are easy. Chicken's easy. Certain fishes are easy. Fish is easy. Don't do anything you have to pick up and crack and bend and pull apart and drip. And don't do any of those kinds of things. You're there for an interview, not to eat as much as you possibly can. It's an interview, so remember that. Now, some people like to do prayers before. If you know that, then give them that time. If you want to join them for the prayer, then join them. But allow them that time to say their prayers if they want to. And in discussing the job, be ready with questions. That's why you're there. Don't you introduce the whole thing. The person that's interviewing you will bring up the questions first. But you be ready. And don't say, oh, no, you've answered all of them. No, they didn't. What do you want to know? You're not going to get into the whole thing of it, but at least have some questions that you might want to know about. And so make sure. Who pays? They've invited you, so they're going to pay. But if you've invited them to lunch because you want to ask them questions, you've invited them, then you pay. So it's kind of turns out right. I put this on there for you. The top one, if you're eating American style, then the knife goes across the top of the blade in, and you're there at 4 o'clock. Continental European, which is where the silverware, which I would love for you to eat that way, which I like, stays in your hand and you eat. You turn on, it's Continental European, which is so much nicer. Then because I talk with my hands so much, my food would be flying everywhere. So you have to rest at some point, that's the averted E. And then at the end, you finish, and even if you're left-handed or right-handed, they always go to the right or at 4 o'clock again. It's a finished position. Now, something drops, don't go diving after and say, 3 to 5 seconds, I got it, and then you eat it. Leave it on the floor, just leave it there. Your silverware drops, we'll do it again. Double dipping, do we need to talk about that? Okay, don't be double dipping, especially there. Salt and pepper are married. They have to go together. So if she says, may I please have the salt? I'm just not going to hand her the salt. She's going to get both the salt and the pepper, and I'm going to set them down. She's not going to say to me, I don't want the pepper, take the pepper back. I didn't ask for it. not gonna go. Don't pick this up and start doing all this like, you know, like whatever. At least taste your meal before you start to salt and pepper things, because it's an insult to the chef, and especially if you're in someone's home. Now, bread. Now, whenever you're at a meal and someone has the food, like the bread or sauce or gravy or whatever in front of them, which way is the proper protocol to pass bread? Does anybody know? Or pass anything in the United States? I'll just think about that for a second. Right or left? Pardon me? No. So we're going to go the right. So I'm going to give you a way to get away from that. Now, if you pick up something, if you're the person that's supposed to pass, yeah, counterclockwise would be left. I didn't think about that for a second. No, we're going. Yeah, you are engineers. You think that way. I'm not. So we're going, whatever, we're going to the right. So, but if something is in front of you and you see something you want, unfortunately it has to be passed around the table before it comes back to you. So, but I'm going to tell you a way to get out of it. So we're going to say there's a croissant in this basket. And so I see it, but I know once it goes down my table and it comes back to me, that croissant's not going to be here anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that croissant, I'm going to cover it with the napkin, I'm going to put my thumb. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to turn to my left. And I'm going to say, would you like any bread? And pray she doesn't take my croissant. And so she's going to say, oh, no, thank you. Or she's going to take something else. So then, actually, it comes back to me to the right. So I can take my roll. It's very simple. So now, what you do now with your bread, this is the part you're not going to like. What you do with your bread is, pretend I have a roll now here. What you don't do is you don't go to the center of the table and go get butter and then come back and butter like this whole piece of bread and go get some more butter and then come back and butter this other piece of bread and start gnawing off the bread, okay? We're not going to do that. You get the butter past you, you can put as much as you want here. Don't ever cut bread. Don't cut your bread, okay? You can break bread in half if you want. You can break it, but no sawing of bread. You can break bread, hence, you know. But what I want you to do, say, let me have a piece of paper. Oh, I'm going to use your napkin. I don't care if you use this. Fred, we're old friends, okay? So you don't want to like try to cut this, but you can if you want, you know, break your bread in half. So again, you're not going to like cut or butter all of this and then butter all this and then start gnawing off of it. What you're going to do is you're going to break this little piece of bread, butter it, put your knife back down and eat one piece at a time. That's it. Sorry about that. So, okay, there you go. A little slower, but that's okay. Now, handles, if something has a handle, you'll just pass the handle towards that person, so if they want to grab it, they can do that so it doesn't spill all over them. Lemon squirt, so if you're going to put lemon, just don't pick up your lemon and go whoosh, and then just throw it in there or over your fish. In the meantime, everybody's more like this, okay? Cup it with your hand so it can go. You want to drop your lemon in, you can, or you can put it on your bread and butter plate or your saucer, anywhere other place it may go. Soup. This is a soup bowl. You don't take your soup and then stir it all into here and then just start digging into it. Unfortunately, you don't stir it all. You spoon away from you. You'll get to everything eventually. You can eat the whole bowl. But you spoon away. You eat soup off the side of a spoon. This is medicine. This is soup. Okay? Now, same thing with crackers. If crackers come in, we'll pretend it's in cellophane, like these little packaged cellophane crackers. Don't like smash them all up and then open them and put them in here. You have to break them, and you eat crackers the same way you do bread. Just break them off in one piece at a time. Just a little bite. I don't care what you do at home. I really don't. You can you can grab food off the floor for all I care. But in a restaurant, you should look really nice. So, okay? Now, in your meal, like you want to talk to this person that's here, don't push all your food back and then stack it, and then take your napkin and cover it, and then hand it to the waitstaff. Just ask them to come by, they'll clear off your table, and then you can go from there. Sweeteners, this is a sweetener. It plays double role in what I do. Please do not pick up a sweetener packet and shake it to death, okay? Or hit it or anything. There's not that much in there. Just rip it off, put it where it's going to go, and then make it go away. Like put it under your plates. Because they come in pink, they come in blue, they're yellow, they look like a little baby shower going on, just make them go away. They're gone, and they're underneath there. Sitting, You don't have to sit up poker straight, but just, don't be like all over your table, and you keep your head up. I'm going to come by and push it up. Same way with the elbows. Very nicely, you can have your arms folded like that at the end. Not like that, though. Put your arms in red. Just nice. Now, chewing and talking, either one or the other. If someone asks you a question, just motion that you have something in your mouth. The other thing is, try to take food that is like 3 bites. 3 bites, and that's it. Because inevitably, as soon as you take a bite, they're going to ask you a question. So don't put your whole mouth full that you have to just, and then 16 bites later, you're still so 3 bites is all it is. Now, burping or something else comes out of your body, some other noise comes out of your body. You don't have to say, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, to everybody at the table. Just say, excuse me, and pray no one hurt you. If it is so loud and so embarrassing, you can look at the person beside you and pretend they did it instead of you. Blowing your nose, if it happens, you can do it like once, twice, but if it's continuous and you're sneezing and coughing, you have to excuse yourself and go. And that way, if there's nothing there, that's one time you would pull up your napkin real fast or in your sleeve. But if you have nothing, like your arms are bare, then the napkin is much better. Picky is sitting there trying to get things out, or, just go to the restroom. Nothing, don't lick. We're not going to lick your fingers. You're not going to like this so much that you're now licking the bowl. No licking. There's absolutely no licking in a meal. Okay, lipstick. Ladies, are we allowed to put lipstick on at the table? No. You cannot be sitting here. You can't be sitting here in your meal. You go down, you come up, and you've got like a full makeup on. No, nothing at the table. Nothing at all. Toothpick, it kind of ranks up there with gum. 1.5. I want you to be 1.5 miles away from that restaurant before a toothpick ever enters your mouth, in the privacy of your car, okay? Now, when you're having your lunch with this executive and you're like cutting whatever it may be, the rule is, if it's something like a steak or whatever and you're eating American style where you change hands and you switch places and all that, you cannot cut more than, for an informal, 3 pieces. And then your knife has to come down, you switch hands and you eat. 3, no more than 3. You can't like cut your whole plate up and then mix it all together and there you go. 3. That's why you should eat continental, because you can cut and eat, cut and eat, cut and eat, and you're ready to go. So no more than 3. Don't cut it that you look like you're playing a cello. You're moving the whole table. It's not worth it. It's not going to be that good when you eat it anyway. Okay? And sharing, you better be very good friends. Don't like be interviewing and say, oh, that looks really good. Can I have some? Don't be doing that. Now, if you say I'm taking you out for lunch, okay, or you're taking somebody else that you're going to buy, and you're going to say, Cece, would you like coffee and dessert? And she says, no, thank you, I'm done. You're done. I said, well, I'm going to have cappuccino and key lime pie. You're not. You're done. Because she said that she's done. So that means she's over it, she's done with you, and she's ready to go. So she's done. If you want it, pay the bill, come back and get it then, but she's done. Now, the turnover. If you don't want coffee, what do you do with your coffee cup? That's what I want you to say. Okay, don't turn it upside down, because if you turn it upside down, then everything else, when you're done, you have to turn everything else upside down. So don't do that. All you need to do, if you don't want coffee when they come around, it's not my actual right thing here, but just say, no thank you, I don't care for coffee today. They may turn it upside down, but you don't, okay? I'll come back and get that because I want to get through it very quickly. Same way with wine. If they say, would you like wine? Say, no thank you. Don't turn it upside down. Just say, no thank you. That's it. Paying the bill, I've already said, if you invite, you pay. Ladies, if you invite, because you do live more in a world of men in this field that you're in, and so you invite all these men, look, okay, what do you use you? Say you invite all these men over here to go to lunch, then you should get there early, go to the maitre d' or the waitstaff who's ever going to wait on you and say, please do not bring me a bill, or here, if you know the restaurant well, then here's my credit card, I will handle this at the end. So when he says, all we have to do is pay the bill, she's going to say, it's already been handled. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope we're going to do business together. She looks like a professional, and they're thinking, wow. So you don't have all this tugging and trying to pay the bill at the end. She's already taken care of it. So it makes her look good. So now, gentlemen, she owes you lunch. So go ahead. Okay? Now, gentlemen, the men's manners, if, like in this case, if he's going to go with them for lunch, if they would get up to go to the restroom, should he stand up? Yes, he should. Little bottoms up, and when they come back, he would do the same thing again. And ladies, do not say, oh, no, 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 you don't have to do that. Just turn to him and say, thank you. That's it. So it's just a nice little gesture. Now, don't ask for a doggy bag, okay? Unless that host or hostess says, oh, please take it home with you. Don't be like collecting everybody's food. Okay, wait staff is number 1. And I said punctuality was number 2. It has been proven on interviews, when they're interviewing you, what the biggest thing is, what they watch in an interview is how you treat the wait staff. That's number 1. So if you turn to the wait staff, they usually serve to the left and remove from the right. Thank you, thank you. That's very important. Just say that. And when they say, well, this, you know, how's your food? It's very good, thank you very much. Not that, oh, I don't want this, take this back, this, that, you know, all these other kind of things. Number 1 is how that person being interviewed treats the wait staff. That's number 1. Number 2 is that you arrive on time. Think of those things. Those 2 rank higher than what your resume is, which is unavoidable. Now, if something's difficult, don't order it. If something's difficult and it's on the menu because it's part of the meal, then watch what your hostess or hostess is doing and pray that they know what they're doing. The other thing is inedible food. Etiquette actually says the way it goes in is the way it comes out. Meaning, if you chewed something like 16 times, it's supposed to be placed back here and you take it out and you put it on your plate. That is so beyond gross. So my suggestion is pick up your napkin very nonchalantly, spit it into this, then ask the wait staff. They're not going to pick up your napkin and it's going to fly in the crowd. They're not going to do that. Nor are you going to pick it up from here and spit on it. Pick it up nicely, and then you can make sure it goes away from there. Now, beer, if you're going to have beer, that's fine. Just don't carry your beer can or bottle around all night. Hey, how you doing? You know, and then you have a toothpick and you're chewing gum. So get a nice Pilsner glass and carry it. Same way with wine. If you're going to have it in a nice glass, then carry it by the stem, and you're ready to go from there. A buffet, I'm going to give you 1 sentence. A buffet is not your last meal. And with that, if you have a glass in front of you, please raise it. If you don't, pretend you do. I'm going to give you a toast. To all of you in the STEM Scholars Program, I congratulate you. I hope this helped a little bit. I look forward to meeting all of you one-on-one and going from there. To all of you, cheers. Cheers. Okay. No, you don't have to stand up. So if you're giving the toast, you do stand up. And then you give it. And like I said, hold your glass out. Never go higher than shoulder height or eye level. Because if you're just going to come down to somebody somewhere. Never stand up and take your glass and never do that. Just stand up. You'll get everybody's attention eventually. Keep it 30 to 60 seconds at the most. Think of this when you're going to weddings. These are not roasts unless it is intended for that. It's a toast. Keep it short. Now, if I'm going to thank Marsha, we'll say Marsha. I'm going to say thank you to Marsha. She's wonderful. She's spectacular. Marsha, you're great. Would Marsha pick up her glass and drink? No. No, because Marsha would be saying, you're darn right, I'm wonderful. And she's drinking to herself. So don't drink to yourself. So same way with the bride and the groom. You just would stand up, you could either kiss or you could give a toast back, but you don't drink yourself. Now if I want to give this whole department, then they would all drink. It's when you single out somebody. You don't do it that way. And with that, I thank you all very, 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 very much.
Trying to give to you when you checked in. She autographed all of them, and they're yours to take. Okay?